What's up, guys, and welcome back to the fifth part now of our North African Roman colony city. So in the last video we finished off the port area, and in this video, as promised, we're going to be building some of the mega insula in the center of the city. So you might find that I have terraformed some of this, but before we get into some of that, first idea I had for this episode was I wanted to build some sort of, merchant clubhouse. Now, I was reading up a little bit on some of the some Roman architecture and some of these Roman public institutions on the train the other day, and what was really interesting to me is they had these like social clubs, these schola that they called them. So what I thought we could probably do is we could put in the port area, we could put a merchant's schola, so like a merchant's meeting house where they would have offices. They would have like club meetings and stuff, like symposium, I guess. And it'd be a really nice, pretty little building with a nice courtyard in the center with some storage, maybe like a collective space where they could store overflow goods, something like that. So that's what I'm building here. So you've got this really nice little courtyard with some colorful elements to it and some painted bits on the walls. Maybe a shrine towards the right over there that could be like a shrine to Neptune, the god of the sea. But then also to have some offices upstairs. So I'll go into that in the tour part of the video, but I think this turned out really nicely. It's like a really nice painted little building in here, which doesn't look too fancy, but looks like, people with a little bit of money have been investing into this building. Now, as mentioned at the end of the previous episode, I wanted to expand the city. Now, this is much bigger, and I've not done the full planning, but I really wanted to see that we could see the Decumanus Maximus, which is this big thing in red here, this big like east to west running road. And then you could clearly see a Cardo Maximus that goes through the Forum. So the Forum at the moment is on top of what I'm calling the fake Bursa Hill, which was a hill where the temples of Carthage were built, the Punic temples, and then the Romans built theirs on top of that. So I've got the hill in the middle there, where the intersection of those two roads are. And we've done a little bit of planning to accommodate for these insula. Now, the insula we built in the last video, I'm using them as a base for the insula that we are building in this video. So what I'm doing is I'm using the actual structural skeleton of the inside. I'm basically replacing the entire outside facade, and I'm also replacing a lot of the internals as well here. So like the internal courtyard completely changed. A lot of the apartments have also been changed. There are still some bits that I need to fix here or there on them, and you'll notice later on in the video there's some little discrepancies with some of the designs. So I need to come back to them once I've done rest of like much more of the city and see, okay, how do we make them a little bit more inhabited and a bit more worn down in some areas? Because the reality was of these insula is that they weren't like the most, let's say, prestigious housing in Roman cities. They were typically what we consider now as slum dwellings. They were incredibly overcrowded. I mean, if you look at Rome during its heyday, it was 3 times more dense than Manhattan. So these buildings were a huge part of that. And Carthage was also a hugely dense city in its heyday in the 3rd, 4th century. So I'm trying to do that, or trying to replicate this idea of density with some of these buildings here, where you have these incredibly dense apartment buildings, where typically the wealthier residents would have lived on the 1st and 2nd floors, with then going up 3rd, 4th, 5th floors. These are then the cheaper units, let's say, in the apartments to rent. But these were mostly standardized in many ways. I mean, they were basically, because they were built off of similar city blocks, they would have had similar designs. So they would have had some variation between them, but I'm trying to replicate this idea where they have certain variations between them in Minecraft, but then they do have like the similar standard design principles of the grids and whatever, which you can see in many of the ruins of them today. So here we have a variety of different ones. So here we've got one that has 2 stories, but then it has a 3rd story added on top of it. Some of them here are 5 stories tall. There's one in this build in this video that is 5 stories tall, and it's a massive one. And I think that's the tallest one we're going to do, to be honest. But most of them are maybe 4 stories tall, 3 stories tall, and I think we're going to limit it at that, to be honest, because otherwise they're going to be massive. But as you can see, you have a large degree of different insula here. So I guess that's it for the main building part of this video. As you can see, we've got this huge area now to use. So that's going to be the Forum up there on the hill. We're going to put a big bathhouse like the Antonine Baths over there. So like, imagine some nice domes. Then on the outside, we're going to put some domus. So I've got some ideas for maybe 5 different types of domus in these areas over here. So maybe thinking like maybe more modest domus to then a merchant's domus, wealthy domus, some urban villas, as then with some more like agricultural farmhouses and stuff as we go further out the city. But I guess we're going to see in the next video what we get on with that. And we probably still got to build some more insula as well into the side of the hill. But you get the idea. I think it's really starting to come along together. So we've got like these nice storage buildings over here. And the first thing we built in this video was this scholar, so the merchant scholar over here. So you've got this nice portico out the front, this small little colonnade out the front of this building. A small courtyard on the inside, and this like pavilion on top of it. And as you can see, it's got this really nice little courtyard in the middle with a small fountain, nice meeting area, some trees, and some painted walls with some different patterns here or there. Now, I guess the idea of this is going to be like a workers area, so this is like an office in this building. You've got a shrine in the middle over there, and then you've got some more storage-based areas on the bottom. So as you see there, you've got access directly from the port, and you can bring some of your products inside to store them. So that's the dark room over there. Maybe a more lit up room for more valuable products, less dusty products, I guess. And then you've got a nice view out to your courtyard over here. Now what we've got here as well is we've got some offices. So this is maybe like the chief merchant's office, I guess. And then over here we've got a couple of other offices for some navigators. Now we've got a navigator, like cartographer villager, who looks like he's doing some work, but I don't think he is really. He's maybe slacking off, standing on the table. And then up here, you can see a nice view of the port. So I guess the idea is that you can see what's going on in the port day to day, if you're a merchant. Okay. And then going into the main parts of these cities, the city blocks. So, I mean, I'm not going to go through absolutely every single one of these insula in this video. I mean, we'll be here for an hour going through that, and it's pretty boring. But the designs of these are pretty cool. Now, they are quite similar between them, because the reality is I have used the same basic structure. I've then modified them on the outside and on the inside to make them have a certain degree of variation, so it doesn't look like it's just the same building over and over again. But as you can see, there's a certain degree of change that needs to happen to them, so there's a couple of bits I need to tweak on them. But as you can see, I mean, you've got these huge courtyards with maybe like a mudded up basin over here. So that could have been a garden, but now people have just not looked after it maybe. With some of these, I mean, all of these have like different shops on the base. So I guess this is a thing where like, if you are, when this eventually goes up for download, once it's finished in, I don't know, 100 episodes time at this rate, you can go through with your friends and you can hide in different houses, and maybe you can do like a role-playing server. I don't know, you can do something with this. You've got all these different shops and stuff and all these different buildings where you can hide in, run around in. So like if you look at this one, this is a smaller insula, which has basically 3 sides to it, and an enclosing wall. And like with the other insula that we built in the other video, they are all furnished. So you have full apartments on the inside of these, which are pretty cool, I think. You could also just go around and modify some of these if you want to, when eventually this goes up for download. But yeah. Now what I wanted to show here is I wanted to show this absolute mega insula. Now this is a 5-story insula and it is massive. So you've got like an armor shop, a couple of different shops on the bottom. And actually one thing I want to show you is actually this idea, if I try and find it around the site. Yep, there we go. Communal oven. So these would have had communal ovens in them. And as you can see, there is this just enormous courtyard with a degree of dirtiness to it. So I guess the idea is that people typically didn't have latrines inside the insula. So what they did on the upper floors is they got their chamber pot and chucked it down into the courtyard. So that's that brown stuff in the middle of the insula. Really, really nice, I know. But yeah, you get the idea. There's lots of different shops around here. And you've got these sidewalks with different roads for this. And I guess, you know, if you go inside this insula, I mean, you can see again, we've got the different apartment buildings or the different apartment units like we had in the previous building. But you can see from here, I mean, you can see how high up you are now. You know, you can imagine back in the day when you didn't have steel construction. I mean, these would have been pretty scary to live in. I mean, they were prone to collapse and fire all the time. But I mean, that's a long drop to get down if there's an accident. But the benefit is you get this fantastic view of the city. I mean, imagine when this is all finished, you've got all of these different temples and stuff and ships out at sea. But, you know, imagine playing on this. You could just run around all the different roofs, jumping from building to building. It'd be really good. Really, really good fun. But I guess, I mean, this is a great view to end the video on. Just this great sunset, and you can imagine the domes of the baths in the background for the next episode, the different domus, the forum, the temples, etc. But yeah, really hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Again, make sure to give your ideas for the next episode in the comments. And until the next time, goodbye.